Nation of Fit in 10, welcome to day 28. 4 weeks officially through the challenge, 6 weeks to go. 1 week away from that midway point. A couple of announcements or just things I want to make you aware of. I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again because I still see it in your food journals. Try to get, it's not so much even just getting a protein strong food at every meal. This is obviously great and important, but we want to get enough of a protein strong food at every meal. All right. All your macros are important, but try to, at the very least, get all your protein in. If there's one macronutrient I want you to focus on, it's going to be the protein aspect. Okay. You know, protein is going to be the most satiating macronutrient. Protein is going to help slow the release of sugar. Protein is the most thermogenic. It means it takes the most energy to digest. Protein is a building block that we need to help us recover. Protein, at least half of the amino acids in dietary protein or close to, are essential. It means you can only get them through exogenous intake, right? Through eating it. And there's other reasons, okay? Protein is super important. Brain function, keeping you alert, okay? There are so many reasons why you want to have protein. Your body can't store protein either, okay? It can store fat, it can store carbs, it can't store protein. So more reasons why you want to take it in on a regular basis, all right? And there's more reasons. I should do a video on it, I guess. I'm trying to get through all of your feedback. I'm trying to get caught up, which I may never actually do if I don't get to it like I should right now. So, but one other thing I got to say here, nut butter. You got to weigh it out. Any butters, you've got to weigh them out, okay? Specifically, weigh out all your solid food, but really be conscientious to weigh out those foods that are super calorie dense. Somebody wrote me, oh, I don't have it in front of me because it's in Slack. Well, I won't pull it up now, but anyways, I reminded somebody of this just maybe 2 days ago, and they wrote me last night and said, holy cow, I weighed out my nut butter, and I think it was at least double what she had, and which is what I suspect. I usually tell people that you're usually about, if you measure out butters by volume, you're usually underestimating by about 50%. So you're usually getting double of what you think you are if you're doing it by volume. So be careful. I cannot say it enough, right? So 15 grams of, for example, mixed nut and seed butter that you can get at Costco, which is super tasty. It's got 170 calories. All right, so it's very easy to do 2 tablespoons in one because all you have to do is just make it a little bit heaping. And all of a sudden you've got 2 tablespoons, and then you got 340 calories. And it's not a lot of nut butter. Like, do 15 grams of nut butter. Just, measure that out. It's not very much. It's like a tiny bit, it's 170 calories. It's huge. So be super duper careful with your nut butters. All right, this person writes, going on work trip this week and dining out with partner business is unavoidable. Not sure what to do with that. Choose wisely. That's all I'm going to say. If you feel like you have to drink in order to create that social engagement with that person, and I understand, well, maybe I don't understand it, but, have a glass of whatever. If you have to have a glass of wine, but maybe you can get away with, having some, just, make up a white lie and just say you're allergic to alcohol. Nobody's going to, get on your case for that, and they're not going to hold it against you. And, have some carbonated water or something. Have some soda water. If you have to have one glass of wine, which I would highly recommend that you don't, just nurse it. Okay? Just go slow and nurse it. When it comes to food, I've said this time and time again, go with basic foods. Choose something from the menu that's very, very basic. Like a fish and some vegetables, or, a steak and potato, or steak and rice. Again, think real basic foods that have had the least amount of processing. Try to choose those off the menu. you know, go with those basic foods, okay? Think basic foods. Whenever you're eating out, basic foods. You'll be making a much better choice with that. And be careful, right? Like if you can get a baked potato over mashed potato, there's going to be a big difference with that. All right, don't be afraid to, you know, ask the waitress what's in it if they know, right? And also if you can go with, I don't know if you have any control over where you go for dinner, but you know, chances are if you're going to a nicer restaurant, they're not gonna have the calories listed, but if you do have that chance, you know, go to a restaurant where they list the calories. Although I don't know how accurate those calories are. All right, is there anything you'd like me to cover in this week's video series? Take out convenient food. And can we possibly make protein bars at home? Yeah, there's some great protein bar recipes. Martina, can you give us some protein bar recipes? Hey, Cindy, why don't you put out your protein bar recipe? Also, your protein bar recipes are actually pretty calorie dense. Yes, there are lots of great ones. I can find some and post some, so, you know, we'll get that done. We'll put it up in the food channel on Slack. Takeout food. You know what I'm going to say on this? Again, you know, basic foods, right? Like sushi's a great one because you can just get rice. Also, I think sometimes they add a bit of sugar to it. You can get rice and you can get raw fish, or you can get like some cleaner, I hate the word cleaner, but some more basic rolls. The roll that I always go with is an avocado salmon roll. So I'm getting some avocado, I'm getting rice, and I'm getting some fish. Okay, yeah, we don't know the amounts, but at least, you know, we're not getting deep fried. You're not eating tempura. You're not eating a deep fried roll. You're not eating maybe a California roll where, you know, they're putting a lot of mayonnaise and that into it. Okay, always think basic. Other takeout food, you know, I guess I'm just gonna repeat myself here, but you know, salads with meat, or meat and potatoes, meat and rice, okay, fish and rice, poultry and rice, something like this, okay? Think an animal flesh and then a basic side dish to go with it. Okay, I hope that helps you. Okay, this person writes, I want to plan more. I have a general plan and the groceries for it. However, I want to plan out the macros so that they equal my macro goals. Yeah, you know, you guys should be within 5% by now. Really. You should be shooting for 5%. And there are people doing this in the challenge. They've been doing this, you know, close to since day one. Which reminds me, send me your feedback. Send me your feedback. Send me your feedback. Send me your food entries. I am getting back to people. I think anybody will attest to this. I'm getting back to you within at least, you know, very rarely is it over 24 hours. I try to get back to you within 24 hours, okay? That's everybody. So send it in to me, okay? It's helpful to you. Just, it takes 2 seconds. Like I've been posting my food every day. I don't know if you've had a chance to see it, if it interests you or not. You don't have to see it, obviously. It's just food entries, but it takes 2 seconds, right? It's just like literally you just snapshot your day. You just snapshot all your meals, and then you just upload it to Slack. It's so easy. I do not feel confident. Okay, name something specific you need help with. I do not feel confident hinging or doing squats. I want to practice it at home, but I'm worried that I will be practicing it the wrong way. Yeah, maybe just wait for class, okay? And I will do my best. You know, I'll mention this to Ken as well. To run through this. This is a really important aspect, whether you're deadlifting, bent over rowing, squatting, stiff-legged deadlifting, you know, to some degree, sumo deadlifting, what else? Doing bent over flies, doing bent over kickbacks, tricep kickbacks. There are so many exercises where hinging plays a role, and so we want to make sure that we really have a good understanding about this. But basically the way I want you to think about it is as you flex at the waist, so when I say flex, I mean bend. As you bend over at the waist, think about trying to push your hips back, put a little bit of bend in the knees and push your hips back behind you. Almost like, you know, I always describe it in class as somebody's putting a belt around your hips and I'm pulling your hips back, or somebody's pulling your hips back with the belt as you tip forward. Okay, now that doesn't mean to lift your toes off the floor. I still want you to keep your feet flat on the floor. But put a little bit of bend in your knees and keep your hips back as far as you possibly can, okay? And then brace through your midsection, especially if you're doing a row or, you know, a lot of these different movements, right? Squats, deadlifts, rows specifically, you really want to brace. Hold your abdominal tight, and then take in a diaphragmatic breath. Fill your lungs with air, okay? Is there anything 1040? Okay. All right, let's get to the message of the day. I have not looked at it. Let's see here. On this day 28, you cannot lose in trying. That's it. You cannot lose in trying. The only way you lose is if you give up. The more you try, the closer you'll get to perfection, or maybe you will get to perfection, right? The closer you'll get to where you want to be. You cannot lose in trying. You'll only get better, okay? The only way you will lose is if you stop trying, okay? Or if you don't try as much, you're not going to get as much in return. Keep the foot on the gas pedal. As I mentioned, best group out of all 19 challenges for second round of scans. Next round of scans is going to happen in 3 weeks from now, okay? Or just over 3 weeks from now. It won't be long. Positive energy, positive vibes. Believe in yourself. For the love of God, give some gratitude. I'll talk to you all tomorrow. See ya.